Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. My name is Aoife Roche, and we are on the GBN network. We are now broadcasting to more than 30 countries. Now, I have some amazing guests here with me today where we're going to be talking all things entrepreneurship, speaking, marketing, and branding. So I first of all want to welcome Laurie McNeil to the show and Brian Galkey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. So let's give the audience a little bit of an introduction. Laurie, can you tell me a little bit about your story?
I grew up with a 7-member family in the back of a 1984 conversion van. And 7 of us actually traveled. And it wasn't until I was in first grade and got into entrepreneurship that we lived in our first stick-built house. And once I got into entrepreneurship, I realized I caught the bug and I wanted to create a different life for myself and for my future and for my family than what I had experienced to that point. And I've owned several businesses ever since. And I help entrepreneurs get from wherever they are to where they want to be.
Fantastic. That's so inspiring that you knew at such an early age that you wanted to be an entrepreneur. We talk a lot about entrepreneurship is a mindset. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I grew up as an introverted extrovert, meaning I love to be around people, but I was terrified to be around people at the exact same time. So what does every good introvert do? Picked up books, took courses, seminars to learn how to understand people better. Body language changed my life. I recommend several books on that. But in 2010, my life really changed when I met an attorney who used to learn face reading for jury consulting. Mm-hmm. And he taught it to me. And I went from an introvert on the help desk to a regional vice president of sales with a $40 million book of business. Wow. Because when I learned to focus on you, I'm not thinking about me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to entrepreneurship, tell me some of the habits that you have on a daily basis that keep you focused.
Great question, because it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I do is what I call 10 before 10, which many people maybe have heard of, but I actually divide that 10 into 2 5s, meaning 5 personal things, 5 professional things that no matter what happens throughout the day, because there's usually things that kind of throw off your schedule that maybe you're not fully expecting, that I know that I have been productive and I've gotten certain things done at least by 10 o'clock. Even if, because I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say, my whole day fell apart and went completely different than I expected. And so I've implemented little habits like that have made a big difference so that you can always say, I was organized, I got certain things done before 10 o'clock, and you can then have a different mindset, different frame of mind in order to move forward throughout the rest of the day and actually tackle those things. But there are things that involve both personal development, professional development. Maybe for some people, it's, getting the dishes done so that you can get certain things checked off your list within your working environment if you work from home, whatever that is, in order to move forward throughout the day. And it really does make a difference for me when I feel like I've set the tone for my day and how I'm going to approach the overall productivity and the flow that comes from that.
Because what I love about what you said there is we throw this term around, but it is so true. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely.
And being able to put that structure, even though it can go a bit wayward in the world of entrepreneurship, you can get up with great intentions, but by having at least the intention to have a structure, you're already putting yourself on the path to success.
Absolutely.
So Brian, tell me some habits that our audience can use that you use.
Oh, I love it. So I have a whiteboard desk and I put my to-do list every night so I can wipe it away and I can slide things off. So the night before I write down what are the top 5 things I want to accomplish the next morning. But then also when I get up in the morning while I'm making coffee, I love Americanos. So I like boiling my water and making the coffee at the same time. I put on something on YouTube that motivates me at the exact same time. So I try to get up as early as often, get your mind going with positive intent. If everybody's ever listened to The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins, one of the first things you do in the morning is you get up and as soon as you walk to a mirror, you give yourself a high five. Why? Because it starts before you start tearing yourself down in the mirror, you start building yourself up. And so when you start that, get up, you kind of half awake, you see the mirror, give yourself a high five. Then I go downstairs, start the YouTube, start the coffee and look at my to-do list.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So both of you are very well-established speakers, and that you are really making an impact on the speaker circuit. So Lara, talk to me a little bit about when you go out to the audience, what's the key thing that you like to speak to the audience on?
As a business strategist, I believe that the foundational parts that are missing are the trifecta of media, branding, and marketing. And so I love to teach people the elements that are missing that they maybe aren't even thinking about in their business or thinking about in the right way in order to really build that foundation from the very beginning. And even if these pieces are missing in your business, it's not too late to start implementing right away in order to get traction that really take you to that next level. And to understand the branding, media, and marketing, the trifecta of adding that into your overall business plan and understand that it's one cohesive plan.
Because I think you often see someone will have the branding and then they'll have the marketing, but they mightn't have the public persona. So the idea that all three of these need to be all encompassing is a very, very critical point for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's a little bit different. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a tactical speaker. I want the audience to walk out of the room with something that they can immediately put to use. So normally times I'm known as the eyebrow guy because I teach eyebrows first. Why? Because eyebrows lead to eye contact. And that's such a rarity this day and age where we're all distracted by our smartphones, our smartwatches, everything else. So what I want people to walk away with is realizing that it's about building a connection with someone, not pushing our agenda. It's very easy to see when somebody's in sales, we go, oh, they've got commission breath. But we do that in our personal lives as well, as we push the way we think, what we want, instead of figuring out where do we meet in the middle? What do we have in common? What's different? And how do we create that rapport between us?
Yeah, that's amazing. So tell me about more. Let's dig into the eyebrows. So you look at someone's eyebrows?
Yes. So
okay, good.
very, very tactical. The simple ones is if somebody has high eyebrows, you imagine eyebrows are like speed bumps on someone's head. If data's racing down your forehead to get into your eyes, the higher the eyebrow can only go so fast. It's got to slow down, go over the eyebrow, and then race to the eye. So when you see somebody with high eyebrows, they need more time to make a decision. So we talk about faces all the time. Like, for example, in comedy, there's highbrow humor and lowbrow humor. Highbrow humor is where somebody tells you a joke, you have to think about it, and then you laugh. Lowbrow humor is like Three Stooges or Jackass, where you see it and you immediately laugh. So then if somebody has low eyebrows, the data races down their forehead very fast, so they make decisions fast. So when I'm talking to someone, I have to go and do they need more time because their eyebrows are higher? Or do I get straight to the point because their eyebrows are very low?
It's fascinating.
Yes, and that's just the very, very high level. And the entire time I'm thinking that, it looks like I'm giving you eye contact, which builds rapport. So as an early on introvert, as I hit my microphone, that's when I was focused on you. I'm not thinking about me.
Yeah. Love it. So we're at the beginning of the year now. What is one of the biggest goals that you have for this year?
Well, I'm focused on my world tour this year.
Oh, wow.
And so the goals of within that tour of helping entrepreneurs literally all around the world with their businesses and that trifecta model within their business plan. But then also, I'm always thinking way ahead to strategizing the entire year before setting myself up for the next year. So then what does that look like? Of course, it's at being in media, branding, and marketing, it's constantly thinking about what I need to do to implement, to be innovative, to carry out my messages and helping other people even further. So of course, there's a lot of things going on in AI. And so right now I'm already starting to strategize on how to best utilize AI in not only throughout this year, but in 2025.
Yeah, the AI revolution is not stopping. The genie is out of the bottle and it's just accelerating. So every business owner really needs to, if they haven't already crafted an AI strategy, at least be thinking about crafting an AI strategy and moving forward, how they can integrate AI. Because there's inevitably going to be replacement and deplacement of people, but you're either going to be riding the wave or you're about to be crushed by it. So that's a fantastic, and the education of entrepreneurs on that key point is absolutely critical. So congratulations on your world tour. That's very, very exciting.
Thank you. It is exciting.
Yeah. So Brian, tell me, what's your goal for this year?
Can I jump back to the AI question?
You can, of course.
I heard a great quote, and that is, you may not be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by somebody who uses AI.
Exactly. That's such a key point.
Yes. You don't have to be as scared of it as everything is. I mean, you can use ChatGPT to increase, like, I want to write this letter, help me form it, make it funny, make it sarcastic, make it witty. People are scared of it, but they don't know because they haven't played with it. It's very simple. we can ask each other questions. That's all you're doing, but you're doing it to a machine. You're asking for help with the right questions to get the right results. Now onto mine, I like this world domination, like you were saying before. Mine is I want to impact more entrepreneurs. And that is I want to help them grow their businesses, because entrepreneurs are good at a very small subject, but a lot of times the only thing holding them back is relationships with other people. So how can they negotiate better? How can they build rapport with people? So rapport is how you build relationships, or relationships is how you win business. I want to help people get there. And the really cool thing about it is when you learn this for business, you can use it in your personal life at the exact same time. And it changes the relationships of people you've known for years, but you didn't understand why you had conflict. And you can now look and go, that's the way they're wired.
Excellent. So just as we're wrapping up now, how can people contact you?
LoriMcNeil.com
Excellent.
will take you everywhere you want to go to contact me on every platform.
Fantastic. And you, Brian?
So subtleskills.com, but I've learned people can't spell subtle, so you can also go to getthecheatsheet.com as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for both being on the show. It's been fantastic to interview you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Aoife Roche, and welcome to the GBN Network. We are now broadcasting across 30 different countries, and on this show, we are discussing all things business. Today, I have with me a very, very special guest. His name is John Welch from Bowtie Engineering. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
You're more than welcome. So, John, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and we've been working together. And I want to talk a little bit about one of the most underutilized platforms for business owners from a marketing perspective, and that is LinkedIn. So you and I took on about 3 years ago the task of creating you as an expert authority on LinkedIn for electrical safety and electrical engineering. And in your industry, because it's quite a analytical kind of left brain industry, we often don't see the CEOs of the companies coming out to the forefront to not only be the visual with videos, but also the voice. So I want you to talk to me a little about your journey on growing, because you've more than 11,000 now, I believe, on LinkedIn, growing on LinkedIn, and how that has actually impacted your business.
Well, thank you for that. LinkedIn, I was always on there, and Aoife was the one that actually pointed out that the space I was in wasn't getting a lot of attention and no one was doing what we're doing. And so when we turned that on, we went to the top 1% within 2 months, which was pretty amazing. And the lead generation that's coming off of that, I can't even keep up. So there's so many leads, and I'm resourcing it as fast as I can, but I still can't keep up with the leads that are coming off of it. Anything from a facility manager to a safety professional, we're just, doing everything we can to keep up with the lead gen. LinkedIn is something that we found was the best fit for our company because of how technical this electrical engineering space is.
Yeah, because most people actually don't realize, first of all, there's 800 million business owners on LinkedIn, and it is the primary lead source for B2B. But it's not a sexy platform. When you compare it to Facebook and Instagram, it doesn't have that attractor factor, but the intention of the person on LinkedIn is not mindless scrolling. The intention of the person on LinkedIn is to find people to do business and network with. Now, you've really started to shine with your videos and doing that. How have you found that process of getting in front of the camera and really becoming the voice and the authority for electrical safety and electrical engineering?
One of the things with any of the social media platforms is how do you get through what's fake and what's real? So with electrical safety, there's really no room for error on that because it is a life safety component with thousands of electricians throughout the United States. And so with LinkedIn, what we did with your help is we went after knowledge-based communication. So we started out simple in that electrical space. And then each week and a couple times per week, we continue to improve the knowledge-based information that allowed me to communicate what best practices are. If you look at this, I've been doing electrical work for over 30 years and I'm well credentialed. So what Aoife did is says, hey, you know this stuff. You are an expert in this and nobody's doing this. So we got out there and got at it right away.
Amazing. And you really have dominated in that industry and continue to do so. Now, another thing we did together was the idea, you do a lot of electrical safety training. So you go out to businesses and large companies training their staff on electrical safety. But we realized, and I think many people face this problem, when you are exchanging time for money, you're eventually going to run out of time. So what we looked at was the idea of taking your training program online. And that was quite a revolution again in your industry. Not so many people had done that. So talk to me about that process and how that has impacted your business.
Right. So face-to-face training, you could imagine, it always has a little bit stronger acumen when you're trying to get a point across. What the online training did, and it allowed me to market differently, is we all know it's not quite as relevant for people that want to like hide and sleep and they, don't want to pay attention for the full 8 hours. But what it's done is a lot of organizations are going through a big turnover in headcount today. And this NFPA 70 safety training, the law says we got to do it every 3 years, so on a 3-year interval. So when you got big turnover in organizations, it's important that in between those 3 years, you have something in place that for the 1 and 2 employees to bridge that gap. Because we don't want them to have nothing. So something is better than nothing. And so that's where that plays a role in the market, and we've done very well.
And now let's lean into so now we have the online training, we have the in-person training, we've built a profile on LinkedIn, we're getting all of the leads being generated. What has that done for you as a person? Because now you've gone from the person who was running the electrical engineering company to now being the face of the company and being out doing all of the meetings. Talk to me about what you've learned about the power of building relationships and how important that has been for your business.
Yeah, what you did to get the lead gen in was actually really easy for me because you did it. But now I'm on the hook to build a relationship that is real. And through the years, I've never chased money. I've always invested in people. And I've been very loyal and always give value before they ask for it. So it takes a lot of energy for me to continue to do that with these leads. And then we look at our leads coming in and versus our success to close. And you can watch the hockey stick effect occur when I genuinely customize every response, every phone call, and invest in that client. It's all about the people. When you invest in people, the money just shows up.
And I think that is such a key point, is the idea that even though they say sales is a numbers game, yes, it is a numbers game, but you have to have a rapport and build a relationship with the people that you want to do business with. And that is something that you've definitely mastered. So tell me, for the rest of the year, what is the biggest goal that you have, maybe your personal goal and your business goal for the rest of the year?
The business goal is we're going to do 1 to 2 acquisitions in the next 24 months probably. And then the culture in that I think will be a challenge because I have fantastic culture now. So it's going to probably disrupt some of that. So there'll be a lot of work there. And then hopefully by then I'll have some extra people and we'll be able to handle those leads that you keep pushing our way.
It's a good problem to have.
Personal goal, I want to just keep running as I am and then build this business to what it is and hopefully, drip some of this into my children soon.
Fantastic. So John, you are across so many different industries. You're in crypto, you're in electrical safety, you're in maintenance, you're in EVs. For anyone watching today, how can they get in touch with you and the company? If you could share your information about how they can get in contact with you.
Well, my email is john.welch@bowtie8.com. That's probably the simplest. And then our website is bowtie8.com. Those are the 2 easiest ways to find us. And then, I'm a big TikToker now, so we do, a handful of TikToks.
Not yet, but I have it on the roadmap.
Yeah. So we're
coming.
We're a work in progress, let's just say.
Perfect. Well, John, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, Aoife.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to the GBN Network. My name is Aoife Roche, and we are now broadcasting this business show in 30 different countries. Today, I have an absolute amazing guest. I'm going to address him as the AI man when he came on the stage, and I think that he is an absolute legend in the industry and is about to really change the game when it comes to AI. So I'd like to welcome Todd All to the show. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks for having me. Hey, legend.
Yeah, well, you are. Like,
I
and
don't know about that, but I definitely do identify trends for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Todd, tell me a little bit about your story.
I'll give you the short version. Grew up HUD housing, single mom till I was 13. Wanted to work on Wall Street since I was 11 because of a show where Warren Buffett was on it when I was a kid. And his assistant was nice enough to send me every annual report ever. Back then, before the internet, you had never even heard of the internet when I was 11, right? So I had to go down to the library. I had to get the phone number for Berkshire Hathaway, find out how to get a hold of her, call up and be, 11-year-old kid. But she was nice enough to send me everything, and the rest for me is history. I wish I would have listened to him and his teachings at a younger age. People have a perverse need to make things complicated in the market. It's actually quite simple. Identify trends, buy the best companies in the world, the best managed companies. I have not been able to do it that way. But even then, we've managed to be able to come up, a company with about 500 million in assets. I think we'll do about 230 million, 240 million this year. So we're not quite Berkshire Hathaway, but we've grown into a nice holding company.
That's fantastic. And now you have really been moving forward in the AI space. So I'm doing quite a bit in the AI space right now with the generative AI and the avatar technology. But when you brought Ask ROI to me, I was literally dumbfounded at the idea and the possibility for business owners. So can you talk to me about Ask ROI and how you were moving in that space?
Well, I would go backwards to go forward, and that is in certain periods of time, there are, with industrial revolutions, things that are game changers that change the way we do business. And one of them, of course, was electricity, the invention of the telephone, air travel was a big deal. These are generational changes. And I think we're in the fourth industrial revolution around AI and the manufacturing process for AI. Elon Musk just said that he expects to have 1 billion humanoids in the home by 2040. I can't remember whether it was 2030 or 2040. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure it was 2040. The AI, the idea of general intelligence, or the idea of a large language model learning something, and is hard for a person that was sort of born pre-internet. My kids who are born post-internet get it intuitively. Mm-hmm. But the idea that you can take all your own data, so with Ask ROI, you can take all your own data, have your own large language model, and not share it with ChatGPT. See, the issue with ChatGPT is when you share information, they now have the information. Mm-hmm. And a little bit different of a model. This is where, if you're a business, say you have 20 employees and you want to be able to have all things at your fingertips, your OneDrive, your Box, your Dropbox, all your documents, your PDFs, your Word documents, everything you've ever said in video, it's all at your fingertips with this. And it's so easy to click and drag those products and put them in your own Ask ROI generative AI product, that you can effectively gather all your data and then tell it what you want to do. Mm-hmm. So you can say, send the last 3 years financials to Bob, and we'll just email Bob for you. It's like having a full-time data analytics assistant that never sleeps, never complains, never calls in sick, and probably costs less than $5,000 a year or less.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there is sometimes a fear in the market where people are a little bit fearful of integrating AI. And like you say, we're putting an AI here that doesn't sleep, doesn't take days off, doesn't have any of the sort of the nuances or the problems that we face with general employees. What do you say to the business owners, the entrepreneurs that are sort of pushing back on AI because they're fearful?
Oh, they should be fearful. Yeah, they're going to get crushed. If you don't embrace AI and the way it works, you will not be efficient. You fall on one or two sides. Mm-hmm. Either one, you believe in your employees will be more efficient using AI, or two, you don't want to use it. If you don't want to use it, I don't think you'll be in business in 10 years. Yeah. Talking about your business. So imagine that if I'm a CEO or I'm a corporate trainer and I want to create a video, that process is such a long process now. Whereas when I can create my own avatar, put in the script, have it ready, and be producing hundreds of communications a month or a year without having to be in studio, that's a scary thing. We're in studio now.
Yeah.
I mean, do I think that live entertainment's going to go away, or this kind of entertainment? No. But do I think that if I'm the CEO of Federal Express or the corporate trainer, or I want to have a new person who's, corporate orientation come in, or I want to send out a general message, that I can't do that through AI? It's what you're doing is amazing around this avatar. I'm sure there'll be regulations someday to say that this is an avatar, but the way it's done is just it's a game changer, especially in the training world.
Mm-hmm. Like even at the beginning of the year, last year, when we were looking, as a marketing agency owner, I went through and I did a sort of a matrix of every operation that we had in the business. And then I looked at how many of those operations could actually be made more efficient with AI. And if you start looking at SEO, copywriting, script writing, ad writing, we had to evolve to talk about, to your point, because if we didn't, eventually the whole concept of the marketing aid, there's so many processes that are going to be replaced by AI. But someone gave me a very interesting way of looking at it. It's not that you're going to get replaced by AI, you're going to get replaced by someone who knows AI.
Yep.
And I think that is such a key point. And if you're not embracing it, and you're pushing back and saying, oh, this is going to take over the world, you are 100% going to get crushed by the wave. So I want to talk a little bit more about the sort of businesses that you are seeing who are coming to you for Ask ROI. Are you getting smaller businesses or larger business, and who's your ideal client?
I want to answer your question, but I have an anecdote. I know you were at the Risk-On 360 Global Success Conference. Jim Meyer, the former chairman and CEO of Sirius Satellite Radio, was there. Mm-hmm. Jim told me that something that's crazy about just the entertainment industry. So so if you think about Netflix making shows, right, where they make their own, like Orange is the New Black, all these different shows. He has a colleague that is making full-length animated movies using AI for a fraction of the cost of making these movies. These sort of sci-fi movies that are all created in AI. And the actual radio shows can be produced this way too, right? Where an entire AI radio show on a topic. So imagine that you want someone to, you want to take a manual or a book, all that, let's say you have a manual for how to repair a car. That entire manual training process can be uploaded and then available in training from AI in such record time. Just think about how long it would take to record a manual that has maybe 500 pages, and someone have to sit, read it, take, edit, and now it's upload the manual, create the avatar, whatever avatar it is you want. It reads the whole training module. It can tell that you've read it. It can, if it has eye technology, it can pay attention to whether you've actually watched it. If you've ever been in your car, and in my new car, I have an Escalade V-Series. If my eyes are not on the road for a certain period of time, a warning light comes up and tells me, you may be distracted, right? Because you're not watching the road. So I'm like, how does it know that? Where the mirror and all the technology can know what your head and spatial movement's doing. Now, I can't verify for sure that that's how they do it, but I know they're doing something to monitor my behavior, right? So what kind of companies are asking? Ones that are right now, in my opinion, fearful. They're like, they don't know what they don't know. I own a crane company here in Texas. And what they shared with me was they have so many different manuals for the different cranes, and they're uploading it all to Ask ROI so that they can then have their field people on their phones put in the error message where it comes up on the computer to tell them how to fix it, or what to do, or what to override, or who to call. So I didn't think about, well, how can you do this with a manual? But if you ever watch a pilot fly a plane, they actually go through physical books and manuals to look and say, their checklist. It's the idea of not having to query, but to have it at your fingertips, to be innately communicating in terms of verbally, where it's not how you ask the question. You can just ask any question. I think that inherently makes, and by the way, what's crazy about this is that the large language model learns your behavior. So when you ask it a question, if you ask it a certain way, it knows how you're asking the question, which I think is insane. It's like, I don't know how it does it. And by the way, they don't even know how, one of the differences between Ask ROI and say ChatGPT is ChatGPT will have hallucinations. It'll make up stuff, right? Whereas with Ask ROI, it recites the document that it's reciting because it's your docs. So it tells you not only what the answer is, but where they got it from. Whereas with ChatGPT, it can hallucinate its answers to you, which is scary.
So how do people get in contact with you about learning more about Ask ROI?
Well, they can go to askroi.com and they can put in that they want to have a demo. It's really easy to get a hold of me. It's my email is todd@ault.com, todd@ault.com. And then if they go to 26786, text 26786 and put in ROI, then they'll be on our list. And we're always putting out communication about AI and what we're doing in this space. And it's evolving like at record lightning speed. Even since we met last night, I already have more advanced information than I did yesterday with you. It's happening like, if you think about Moore's law, like in terms of how quickly chipsets, they get smaller and faster and double in size, AI is like on a 6-month window or less. So Bill Walsh said something to me that is really intuitive. He said, this is the worst AI is ever going to be. And someone said, yeah, it's the worst. No, it's the worst right now. It's only going to get better. And better today is scary. So what's it going to look like in the future is crazy.
Yeah, but we're in for an exciting journey. I'm very excited about what's going on.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I missed out. I didn't miss out on the internet, but I missed out a little bit on the function. I made money there, but I was kind of like, would someone really want to order a pizza on the phone? Because, you used to have that dial up where it was kind of loud and it took a few minutes to get online. I'm like, I can call a pizza, delivery person faster than that. Now you don't even call Pizza Hut. You wouldn't even consider calling them. I mean, it doesn't even happen. There's no reason to. It's all intuitive right on your phone. When I go to DoorDash now, it already knows all my prior orders. So I just I can order a pizza in 2 seconds and it's literally there for my whole staff in a few minutes, where that is not AI, but it's a form of AI in the sense that it knows what you want. And it's only going to get better.
Amazing. Well, Todd, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Always a great conversation.
I hope we replay this a lot because I love what's happening. And I want to go back to this interview and see what it's like in 6 months.
Yeah, anyway, so we got to come back and do it again in 6 months.
For sure.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.